Microsoft Certification DP-203 exam updated questions are the latest version in the market. Study them to pass the DP-203 test easily. 1. You have an Azure Databricks workspace that contains a Delta Lake dimension table named Tablet. Table 1 is a Type 2 slowly changing dimension (SCD) table. You need to apply updates from a source table to Table 1. Which Apache Spark SQL operation should you use? A. Create. B. Update. C. Merge. D. Alter. 2. You manage an enterprise data warehouse in Azure Synapse Analytics. Users report slow performance when they run commonly used queries. Users do not report performance changes for infrequently used queries. You need to monitor resource utilization to determine the source of the performance issues. Which metric should you monitor? A. Data I/O percentage. B. Local tempdb percentage. C. Cache used percentage. D. dbo percentage. 3. You are monitoring an Azure Stream Analytics job by using metrics in Azure. You discover that during the last 12 hours, the average watermark delay is consistently greater than the configured late arrival tolerance. What is a possible cause of this behavior? A. Events whose application timestamp is earlier than their arrival time by more than 5 minutes arrive as inputs. B. There are errors in the input data. C. The late arrival policy causes events to be dropped. D. The job lacks the resources to process the volume of incoming data. 4. You are designing an Azure Synapse Analytics workspace. You need to recommend a solution to provide double encryption of all the data at rest. Which two components should you include in the recommendation? Each coned answer presents part of the solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. An X509 certificate. B. An RSA key. C. An Azure Key Vault that has purge protection enabled. D. An Azure Virtual Network that has a Network Security Group (NSG). E. An Azure Policy Initiative. 5. You have an Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated SQL poolmat contains a table named dbo.Users. You need to prevent a group of users from reading user email addresses from dbo.Users. What should you use? A. Row-level security. B. Column-level security. C. Dynamic data masking. D. Transparent data encryption, TDD. 6. You have a data warehouse in Azure Synapse Analytics. You need to ensure that the data in the data warehouse is encrypted at rest. What should you enable? A. Advanced data security for this database. B. Transparent data encryption, TDE. C. Secure transfer required. D. Dynamic data masking. 7. You are monitoring an Azure Stream Analytics job. You discover that the backlogged input events metric is increasing slowly and is consistently non-zero. You need to ensure that the job can handle all the events. What should you do? A. Change the compatibility level of the Stream Analytics job. B. Increase the number of streaming units, SUS. C. Remove any named consumer groups from the connection and use $default. D. Create an additional output stream for the existing input stream. 8. You have an Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated SQL pool that contains a large fact table. The table contains 50 columns and 5 billion rows and is a heap. Most queries against the table aggregate values from approximately 100 million rows and return only 2 columns. You discover that the queries against the fact table are very slow. Which type of index should you add to provide the fastest query times? A. Non-clustered column store. B. Clustered column store. C. Non-clustered. D. Clustered. 9. You have an Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated SQL Pool 1. Pool 1 contains a partitioned fact table named dbo. Sales and a staging table named stg. Sales that has the matching table and partition definitions. You need to overwrite the content of the first partition in dbo. Sales with the content of the same partition in stg. Sales. The solution must minimize load times. What should you do? A. Switch the first partition from dbo. Sales to stg. Sales. B. Switch the first partition from stg. Sales to dbo. Sales. C. Update dbo. Sales from stg. Sales. B. Insert the data from stg. Sales into dbo. Sales. 10. You need to schedule an Azure Data Factory pipeline to execute when a new file arrives in an Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 container. Which type of trigger should you use? A. On demand. B. Tumbling window. C. Schedule. D. Event.